This is The Process Shot. I'm Michael. I'm stuck in a haunted movie theater, and I've seen Sex Appeal, a new comedy drama type deal from director Talia Osteen. It follows the semi-scientific trials and troubles of Avery, a high school senior who is far more focused on study and analysis than her social life. That's not to say she doesn't have one, though, as she does have a long-distance boyfriend who she'll be seeing at a science and technology competition. Her only problem? While they do plan to finally consummate the next time they meet, Avery has no idea what to do. With the help of her estranged best friend, Larson, she tries to figure out the formulas behind sex, while missing what really matters when it comes to matters of the heart, or something like that. As you can guess, the movie's main message about sex and love is laid pretty bare as the story goes on. It also gets hammered in almost sevenfold when we get to the third act. The first hour or so of Sex Appeal is pretty much dedicated to the concept of a girl trying to understand sex in terms of science and data, rather than something emotional or human, and it doesn't really take any time to focus on anything else. It's at least original in its open and humorously extreme approach to sexuality, but it also frames everything that goes on within these topics. It results in a bit of a short-sighted nature that not only gets a bit uncomfortable, or at least unusually casual, but leaves pretty much every character outside of the leads feeling flat and unfleshed. Even so, Avery and Larson don't get much personality until the last act, when Avery finally learns that what she's been ignoring is the most important part. That's technically a spoiler, but again, the movie makes it pretty obvious that this is the big lesson she has to learn. The third act leads to a complete tonal shift and becomes more dramatic, almost extremely so compared to the comedy of the first parts of the movie, which only makes it seem as if the filmmakers wanted to make the movie feel as if it had a heart or an emotional center all along, but couldn't actually figure out how to integrate it into the first hour of the movie. Beyond the actual discussions and topics within the story of Sex Appeal, the film's technical aspects try to reflect on the youth of the characters and target audience, as well as the overarching tone of the film. That last bit is especially apparent, as it's part of why the shift from comedy to drama feels so harsh. The movie uses fast cuts and pacing to sell up the comedic and humorous nature of early scenes, only stepping back to highlight quieter and intimate moments, such as those which lead into the movie's sex scenes. Speaking of which, there are several of those in here, but they're presented in a hyper-imaginative manner that does actually offer a creative way to express the physical acts and sensations going on without being too obscene. It's extreme, but effective, though it's a visual idea that isn't used much elsewhere, and is, of course, completely absent in the third act, where the visuals tamper things down and stay grounded to reality. I think that out of everything in Sex Appeal, it's really the tone that keeps it from hitting the goals it wants to achieve. It tries to balance the humors and antics of a teenage sex comedy with the realism of a coming-of-age drama, but it treats that as more of a third-act twist instead of something more nuanced. Avery's character is so hyper-focused on the science of sex that she just becomes annoyingly dense about it. And when it's time for her to realize her mistakes, we feel glad that she's criticized for them instead of feeling sympathetic for her. For as much as the movie tries to normalize the conversation about sex education and exploration, it forgets to have normal characters an audience can relate with. And when it realizes this and tries to cram in some development, it only goes to show that the story needed more than its premise to really be heartfelt. kinda like what the movie is trying to say about its lead character. I doubt that was intentional. Sex appeal. Talia Osteen, 2022. 1.5 stars. I don't recommend it. There's plenty of better teen comedies and coming-of-age stories out there, and there has to be at least one that does this movie's story better. That's it for this review. If you liked it, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews. I'm not really sure what else to say about this movie. It's just awkward. Not even because it's talking so casually about sex. It's... I don't know. Probably best that I don't dwell on it.